Nordic. Tariffs of 25% on imports from Canada and Mexico on hold the next month. A 10% tariff on Chinese imports hit Tuesday.
If this trade war continues, there's a real possibility that this could increase prices for Americans for things they're used to buying, from toys to clothes. And it could take a long time for Americans to switch some of their buying habits to buy American and increase American manufacturing.
ABC's Mary Alice Parks. China retaliated with tariffs on its U.S. imports. ABC News learned that President Trump is taking strides to shutter the Department of Education. Billionaire Elon Musk and others involved in the government efficiency effort were seen inside DOE headquarters. North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis says Congress can reel Musk back in if necessary.
He's throwing out big ideas. And if anybody thinks that all of these big ideas are going to be implemented to conclusion, they don't understand the process of disruption.
Connecticut Democrat Richard Blumenthal.
The kind of betrayal of trust that we're seeing in putting the world's richest man in charge of our country, giving him the power to enrich himself and his fellow billionaires or ultra-wealthy in government. The American people won't stand for it, and we ought to show that we won't stand for it.
Tiger Woods took to social media to announce the death of his mother, Clotilda Woods. He called his mom a force of nature. She was 78. Richard Cantu, ABC.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
It's now 5:05, and with your KVNU News update, I'm Will Feelright. Well, Utah has made some noteworthy progress in increasing the number of working-age adults who hold a degree or credential beyond high school. Now, credentials are official documents that verify someone's qualifications or competency in a given skill. According to the Lumina Foundation's latest Stronger Nation report, the Beehive State's attainment rate sits at nearly 62%, which is well above the national average. Now, Teresa Lubbers with the foundation says it's important for Utahns to understand their economic security depends on having valuable credentials.
But we have shifted the thinking to a learner-based system of higher education. That's future-focused, that's workforce-aligned, and then we come up with the strategies that will do that. So I think I'm a big believer in strategic plans for higher education in states.
Now, while raising educational attainment numbers is important, Lubbers also says ensuring equal opportunities is crucial as well. Well, Republican Senate leaders acknowledged yesterday that Utah would see some impact from tariffs if they are enacted, but supported President Trump's decision to level them. Now, late yesterday, the president agreed to pause tariffs against Mexico and Canada for 30 days, giving both nations time to shore up border security while imposing tariffs on China. Now, roughly 20% of Utah's jobs are tied to international trade. That's according to numbers from the World Trade Center, Utah. Now, Senate President J. Stewart Adams told reporters during a news conference yesterday that he still supports President Trump's decision, arguing that the fentanyl crisis in the state and the country needs to be addressed. Now, Senate Minority Leader Lizeth Camilla said that Utah families, though, would be the ones to suffer from raised tariffs. Now, some lawmakers also noted that they would personally be impacted. Senate Majority Whip Chris Wilson explained how his auto dealership, Wilson Motors in Logan, gets many of their parts from Canada. And when asked how he felt about the president's decision, Senator Wilson told reporters, quote, "I think he needs to make this stand and we'll see what happens," end of quote. And a man was arrested in connection to a 2016 cold case murder. Around 4 a.m. back on July 10th, 2016, officers with the Unified Police Department said they received a call about gunshots being fired and a man who had gone to a hospital for treatment. Now, that man, 24-year-old Marvin Lopez of West Valley City, later died of his injuries. Police located several areas where shots had been fired and were able to recover shell casings. Now, a witness later determined that 18-year-old Jimmy Lopez was the shooter. And Jimmy Lopez was booked into jail earlier this week on charges of homicide. Now, in a statement from the police department, they said their thoughts remain with the family and friends of Marvin Lopez, who have endured years of grief and uncertainty, and they expressed hope that this development in the case would bring some measure of peace and justice. Well, clouds continuing this afternoon as once again we've been in the low 60s. It has been so nice outside, but unfortunately it's not going to last. As we head into the overnight hours, going to start to see a chance of some rain overnight as temperatures will drop into the mid-40s. Then we'll be only into the high 40s tomorrow, with rain likely throughout most of the day. And then this chance of storm still going to linger into Thursday and Friday and Saturday, but decrease over the next several days. But temperatures gradually getting colder, and by the weekend, we're only going to be around the low 30s for our high. And news and weather brought to you by Dr. Keith Nilsson, offering board-certified orthopedic surgery to help eliminate sports medicine injuries and arthritis. It's Dr. Keith Nilsson. Give him a call or visit his website, drkeithnilsonortho.com. I'm Will Feelwright with your KVNU News Update.
If the cold temps lately have you turning up the thermostat, I've got a more efficient way to keep your home comfortable. Call Cardall's Insulation. That's right, insulation. Now you're probably wondering, does insulation actually go bad? Well, if your home was built before 1980, you should really consider new insulation, because today's insulation is so much better. Even a lot of newer homes don't have sufficient insulation. So if your home is cold, if you feel a draft, call 755-5012. Cardall's Insulation, 755-5012.
The Aggies on KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EARN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Hi, I'm Wendy, co-founder of Bell Sculpt. I know what it's like to feel uncomfortable in your own skin, worrying about how you look, feeling drained, and just not like yourself. Hormone changes, pregnancy, or aging can lead to weight gain and challenges that aren't your fault. That's why I believe so strongly in what we do at Bell Sculpt. I've had a procedure myself, and it transformed more than just my shape. It boosted my energy, metabolism, and confidence. If you're ready to feel like yourself again, Bell Sculpt is here to help. Book your free consultation at bellsculpt.fm.
Want to set yourself apart from the competition? The Leadership MBA at Utah State University will help you lead companies and drive change in your organization. You can attend in person in Logan on Thursday evenings or take an interactive online class. Complete your MBA in as little as a year. Apply before March 1st to be considered for summer semester. Contact the MBA office for a waiver of the $55 application fee. Learn more at utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com.
Welcome back to Hour 2 of today's show. I'm Jason Williams, and this hour of For the People will be short. We're going to wrap up a bit early tonight, create a little buffer for JD and I to swap seats here in the studio. JD will take over for the Aggie pregame starting at 5:30, so we'll wrap up about 5:25, 26, 27 somewhere. That gives us time, though, to bookend our whole discussion today on social media, cell phones in classrooms, all of these bills lawmakers are discussing and debating on Capitol Hill this week, with this week's episode of Sutherland Institute's Defending Ideas, which takes all of this sitting down with State Senator Todd Weiler, one of the sponsors of one of the bills, as well as Bill Duncan, Melissa McKay, their online safety expert at Sutherland, and Nick Dunn, to ask a big, broad question about these types of efforts. And that question simply is, when the state gets involved like this, these types of government policies, is it appropriate and does it work? It's this week's episode of Sutherland Institute's Defending Ideas, the case for app storage age verification.
State Senator Todd Weiler.
Thank you. Hello, Nick.
Thanks for coming back to Defending Ideas.
Pleasure to be here.
And also Bill Duncan, who is our Constitutional Law and Religious Freedom Fellow here at Sutherland.
Thanks, Nick. He's a good fellow.
He is indeed. And also joining us in our virtual studio is Melissa McKay. She's a mom, a child advocate, and a device and online safety expert. She's been doing a lot of work on this issue and this bill. Melissa, thanks so much for being with us on Defending Ideas.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
So let's jump right in, because we're in the middle, or I guess at the beginning, of Utah's legislative session. There has, of course, been a lot of debate in recent years around the effect of social media and online content on kids. Sometimes pretty intense debate of what to do about it. Is there a government role? If so, what should it be? And so I want to kind of explore the contours of this debate for our listeners and give them a better way to understand the issue and to talk about it, as they are no doubt talking about these kinds of things in their family with their friends. And Senator, I wonder if we could start with you. You're, of course, the sponsor of Senate Bill 142, the App Store Accountability Act.
Sure.
But I wonder if first you give us the big picture. Why is this issue important?
Yeah, so I hear a lot of people say, well, this is really a parental responsibility, and I agree 100%. But so is teenage drug use with tobacco and alcohol and vaping. And yet nobody's suggesting, well, 7-Eleven shouldn't ask for an ID when someone's buying a six-pack. And nobody's saying, well, we should allow Amazon to ship vaping products to 12-year-olds. Nobody's making that argument, because we all grew up understanding that, yes, it's parental responsibility, but the government's going to come in and help a little bit, and the Motion Picture Association is going to rate a movie. And so if the movie's rated R, the theaters aren't supposed to let 12-year-olds in there. But for some reason, with this digital stuff, it's new and it's fresh, and it kind of snuck up on us. And so people, they kind of draw into their defenses and say, well, how dare you look at Instagram or smartphones? This is a parental responsibility. Well, yes, it is, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be checking IDs just like 7-Eleven does. And so I think that's the big picture. And particularly for this bill, Melissa kind of opened my eyes to the fact that Instagram, which I like and I use, and I think it can, for me, it's been very family oriented. It also contains a lot of filth and a lot of stuff that shouldn't be there. And when Melissa first told me that, I challenged her on that a bit. And then she said, no, you got to look at it like a curious 12-year-old boy, and search for terms that they might be looking, search for. And she opened my eyes to the fact that there was a lot of disgusting material on Instagram, and they're aware of it, and they're not doing anything. In fact, I think they like it. It serves a segment. Now, Twitter, I'll say, has explicit hardcore pornography, and they seem to be okay with that. Instagram doesn't, but it kind of walks right up to that line without crossing it.
So is it kind of, and Melissa, I want to bring you in a second to talk about the bill specifically as well, that you've been involved with these conversations. And then our bill, we'll get to some of the constitutional critiques that people are making in your response to those. But Senator, I want to stay on this for a moment. The way you describe it, it kind of seems to me that aren't people just sort of implicitly making an argument that, well, social media or this online material is not actually that bad for kids? Because you use the argument of drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Is that where the disconnect is?
I think that they were making that argument 2 or 3 years ago. I think they've surrendered because the data is so overwhelming that it is bad for kids. In fact, I could show you a hockey stick pie graph of hospital admissions for teenage girls, and it was fairly flat for 3 or 4 decades. And then as soon as social media became, effervescent, it just went straight up. And it's teen suicides and other things like that, because it's amazing how these, the TikToks and the Snapchats of the world, how they can get under the kids' skin, and they make them feel like they're a loser and everybody else is just having this wonderful life.
And it's not just kind of obscene content, but also the impact on mental health, on depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation.
Absolutely. We're facing a crisis right now in this country because of it.
So, Melissa, I'd love your take on, with that kind of overview that Senator Weiler provided and the work that you've done on this issue, talk a little bit more about the specific intervention that's before us, that's before the state and the legislature in the form of this bill. Why is this the right intervention, and why is it the right step for right now?
Sure, happy to speak to this. So I've been doing device safety and online stuff for about 7 years. And very early on, I think every child advocate thinks, oh, well, education is the answer. You have to educate people. And that is part of it, but there is a lot that parents don't understand. And that's what the first part of this bill talks about, having accurate age ratings. And Senator Weiler touched on this a little bit. Instagram is rated 12+, Snapchat is rated 12+. There's a lot of apps that are misrated, so parents don't really have the full story. So there was a recent expose in the Wall Street Journal, and they looked at 1,000 different apps, and they found that 1/4 of them were misrated. So they're misrepresentations of what was on the app. And the reason that happens is that there's no third-party industry group overseeing apps like we have for movies or video games. So it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's just so messy because Google has their own rating system, Apple has their own rating system. The parental controls are all tied into the app age ratings. So if they're getting this wrong, like, parents can't protect their kids. So that's just the first piece, is the app age ratings piece. We're saying if you are misrepresenting your app age ratings, you can be subject to Utah's deceptive advertising laws. And we also add a private right of action so that parents can sue if their children are harmed.
Melissa, one of the things I want to ask you about with this bill specifically, as I understand it, a big piece of this really comes down to this age verification question. And as I understand it, correct me where I'm wrong on this, but if my kids wanted to download something on their devices, they're currently in real life too young to do this, but as they get older, and then for other parents out there, but essentially it would require a parent to give their consent if the primary user, if the child is a minor, obviously, that wants to get something from the App Store. The parent, who's the adult over 18, there's some form of, well, I'm the adult and I'm the parent and I'm giving them consent. Like, they literally physically cannot download the thing unless someone who has age verified gives the consent. Help us understand kind of how it would work.
Sure. So that a lot of people want to turn that into a content issue. It's not about content. It's about contracts. So every single app comes with a terms of service agreement. And those terms of service agreement can give sweeping access to the whole device, the camera, exact location. It can create ongoing financial agreements with the person. So we're just saying, in every other instance, anytime a child is entering a contract, you have a parent overseeing that, or the contract is unenforceable. So in the case of smartphones and app stores where the stakes are so high, where these apps can access the actual device, we're saying a parent should be overseeing these contracts. So that's where the contracting, the parent oversight piece comes in. And the age verification piece is tied directly to that, because unless you know if the person is an adult or a child, you don't know if they need consent. You don't know if they're the parent. You don't know who's giving consent. So that's kind of tied in right under the contract piece.
Bill, I want to get your take, because something Melissa mentioned about kind of the critics are saying, well, this is infringing on free speech, it's not constitutional. But she mentioned this idea of it's not content, it's contracts. You wrote an opinion piece for the Deseret News recently. I want to read a short excerpt from, then ask you to kind of expound on sort of the constitutional arguments at play. In your piece called Parents Can't Be Involved in Child's App Downloads, That's a Legal Stretch, which we'll link to in the show notes, you write, SB 142 would not prevent content providers from making and sharing their views, but it would restrict an app store's ability to give children unfettered access to harmful downloads. Simply put, the law regulates the conduct of app stores, not their content. Therefore, it does not impinge on free speech. Can you expand on that a little bit? Help kind of address and maybe put to bed some of those constitutional concerns you've been hearing about.
Sure. Well, I think actually Melissa's answer is probably more helpful than anything I've said on that, to give a little details about why that's true. And again, Senator Weiler's, there's so many ways in which we appropriately create laws that protect children in various ways. And like Senator Weiler pointed out, we usually don't question those. I mean, the example I always think of is tanning beds. In the state of Utah, you can't use a tanning bed if you're a minor without parental consent. And there hasn't been a concern because nobody thinks of providing a potentially unsafe product to a child as a form of speech, particularly in the way that that's been described, by Melissa. I think one of the things that strikes me as really important is that there have always been some regulations that touch on speech, like deceptive advertising laws, laws against distributing pornography to minors. These laws have been upheld over and over again. The U.S. Supreme Court, just a couple of decades ago, upheld a law that said that a man can't, in his store, in a actual brick and mortar store, can't sell pornography to minors. And so those laws don't all disappear just because we're in a slightly different technological context than we were before. So
that was, again, this week's episode of Sutherland Institute's Defending Ideas. You can hear the full episode at sutherlandinstitute.org, and I encourage you to do that, especially if you are a parent. These bills are being debated and discussed by lawmakers as we speak, quite literally, and they will be voted on before the end of the session. It's a very smart way to go about it, I think, though, and I'm saying that as a skeptic of these efforts in general. I think the state is being very careful. Senate Bill 142 is Senator Weiler's bill. Thanks again to Sutherland Institute for sending that discussion along for our listeners each week, and hear the full episode again at sutherlandinstitute.org. That is our show for today, wrapping things up a bit early to make way for JD and crew taking over at 5:30 for the Aggie pregame. That's coming up in just a few minutes here on KVNU Logan.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
The perfect night, the perfect date, the perfect Valentine's dinner for two at Cafe Sabor. You choose the night, Monday, February 10th through Saturday, February 15th. Then comes the amazing Valentine's dinner. 4 options priced $25, $30, $35, and $45. You can also include a movie for two. No excuses. 5 days to make your Valentine happy, 10th through the 15th, with 4 amazing specials to choose from, including a movie at Cache Valley's favorite Mexican restaurant, Cafe Sabor. Go to cafesabor.com for details. cafesabor.com for details on the Sweetheart Special.
Over the past few years, strong and crazy weather patterns have battered various parts of the country. Northern Utah and southern Idaho are not immune from its share of wild weather. Be prepared for power outages with a Generac backup generator from Golden Spike Electric. They are your local source for Generac sales and service. Generac keeps you in control when bad weather strikes. Golden Spike Electric, powering your peace of mind. Online at gsegenerators.com or call 257-3016. They also service other models.
Love is in the air. For Valentine's Day this year, ditch the ordinary and dive into extraordinary sweetness at Cox Honeyland and Gifts in South Logan. Picture this: delightful gift baskets, irresistible fudge, and popcorn that pops with love. Plus, discover a treasure trove of unique gift shop items that say, "You're special." Give the gift of joy this Valentine's Day. Cox Honeyland and Gifts, where love and sweetness collide. Swing by today at Highway 89 in South Logan or visit coxhoney.com. Because love is sweet, and so are our treats.
This is Jordan with Primrose Home Care and Hospice, and I'm here with Barbara. Barbara, how did you become acquainted with Primrose?
I had been trying to get another company to come and help me, and I had waited about 2 weeks, and I needed a bath. My neighbor suggested that she would make a few phone calls, and that very afternoon, Mark Stokes was sitting in my front room, and he said, "What do you need?"
Primrose Home Care and Hospice. We're your home team.
This Valentine's Day, get a piece of jewelry from S.E. Needham Jewelers. Save time and money by taking advantage of our Valentine's Day special. With the purchase of any jewelry valued at $149 or more, you'll receive dinner for two, chocolates and flowers. You can have Valentine's Day covered in one stop. Choose from a large selection of diamonds, pearls, gold, and silver jewelry. Also, your jewelry will come in our signature gift box. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7. S.C. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block at the sign of the clock.
Hi, Cache Valley. This is Dan Newmeyer at Blue Sky Restoration, formerly ARS. Do you know what to do if you are experiencing water flooding inside your home? First, make sure everyone is safe, turn off the water, and call Blue Sky. Do you know where the water shutoff is at in your home? If you don't, call Blue Sky and we'll send out a representative for free to help you find it and tag it so you can be prepared if an emergency arises. Remember Blue Sky, restoring your property and your life for a brighter tomorrow.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance, reminding you that when you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
In the vast ocean, there was room for only one victor.
Polar broadside, men! Brace yourself!
Many would never come back. But those who did would be legend. This epic battle for destiny will have to wait until after it rains.
But Dad, we're winning!
I don't want to get wet.
Dad, we're at sea.
Maybe we can storm the kitchen.
Children who spend time with their parents are less likely to drop out of school, abuse drugs or alcohol, and are more likely to finish college. So imagine what a little time can do for your family.
To the deli!
From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
25 NCAA championships, 18 conference championships.
And the Aggies are going dancing.
10 tournament championships.
The Aggies are pulling out the scissors, and they're going to cut down the nest.
Our winning culture continues. Our Utah State Aggies play here on the Aggie Sports Network.
Pre-game begins 1 hour before tip-off. Don't miss game day on your home of the Aggies. News Talk KVNU. KVNU Aggie Game Day for Utah State basketball starts now. Everything you need to know about today's matchup, the teams and players, interviews, trends, perspectives, scores, all before tip-off. And the game action is coming up for Northern Utah and Southern Idaho Aggie fans to hear on your radio. Complete coverage is on the heritage home of Utah State Sports. News Talk KVNU. Game day coverage is sponsored by Daryl's Appliance, Advanced Heating and Air, Primrose Home Care and Hospice, Blue Sky Restoration, Advanced Garage Door, The Logo Shop, Advanced Fireplace and Stove, Golden Spike Electric, Alpine Home Medical, S.E. Needham Jewelers, My Mattress, Riverwoods Conference Center,
Republican
Cache Valley Bank, Aegis Healthcare, Jarek's Fine Jewelry, Les Olson IT, Adams Wealth Advisors, DD Auto and Salvage, LSS Insurance Agency, Cafe Sabor, The Sportsman. And now to get you ready for the game, here's J.D. Walker and Stockton Jukes on KVNU Aggie Game Day.
Looking outside this Tuesday in Cache Valley, the 4th of February. It is 58 degrees outside right now. Definitely not February weather. And Stockton, I'm a little nervous here because usually when we have bad weather and the Aggies are in town, it means good things up at the Spectrum. What is 60 degrees, grass skirts, coconut bras, and doing the hula? Talking about Craig Hislop from the morning show, going to be watching the Aggies tonight too. What do you think that means? Do you think we're looking into the weather too much today, or am I still shell-shocked from what happened in the Spectrum last weekend?
I think it's rude that they gave us golf weather while all the golf courses are still closed. That's not very thoughtful at all.
It is.
I really wanted to whip my clubs out today, but then I remembered nothing's open. And it's, negatively affecting the snow now up at Beaver too. So hopefully it does cool down a little bit for the next month or so. But I don't know. I feel like the heat up is just kind of radiation from the basketball team since Saturday night. I think they've been hot since that game was over, and I, like you, pity what's coming the Wyoming Cowpokes way this weekend or this evening.
I do. And Eric Franson on the Full Court Press over on our sister station 106.9 The Fan. He is the positivity captain today. He said, excuse me just one second. He said, Utah State losses. A few key guys have struggled. In their following games, they respond. Check this out. The UC San Diego game, 75-73 loss there. Aubin, Tucker, Dexter, Isaac, and Jordy combined for 14 points total. That's kind of a rough total from that group. But in the following game, the 75-68 win over St. Mary's at St. Mary's on the road, we should point that out, they combined for 27 points. The 65-62 loss at UNLV, that same kind of group, averaged about 12 points. And then the next win, 90-68 versus Nevada, that group had a total of almost 50 points. So the Aggies kind of primed for a bounce back. I know that they don't like that feeling of losing, especially at home in the Spectrum, right, Stockton?
Yeah, and I was listening to what Drake had to say in those post-game comments as I was leaving the studio on Saturday night, and I couldn't help but think, this is a guy that really sounds like he is starting to hit his stride, and he sounds like the flat-out, level-headed, say-it-like-it-is leader that this team kind of needs right now. I like that he's got that graduate experience where he's been playing D1 basketball for a while, and he can kind of guide Mason specifically because Mason seems to be struggling right now. And, that could be just a factor of him being young and it only being his sophomore season playing D1 basketball. But I like what he was saying, and it sounds like this team knows exactly what went wrong. And, sometimes you just can't buy a bucket. That's just how the game goes. I don't think that's going to be the case tonight, and I think that they're going to unleash a lot of what they left behind in that second half on Saturday night tonight.
Some of the best Wyoming hate week text so far. Wyoming fans still use dial-up internet.
Oh, goodness.
There's some creative ones. But looking at that also, some kind of sad news to pass on. We learned last night, early this morning, that former Utah State men's basketball player John Wickizer passed away unexpectedly at the age of 51 on January 29th. Originally from Woods Cross, a 4-year letter winner at Utah State from 1993 to 96, a decorated prep career at Wood Cross. Wickizer made an immediate impact for the Aggies as he earned a Big West Conference all-freshman team honors. As a senior, 95-96, he was just one of three Aggies to start all 33 games, and he played 31 minutes per contest. One of the most ranking as one of the team's most efficient for three-point shooters at about 40% there. Posted on CashValleyDaily.com. The Wickizer family posted a GoFundMe there to help with the funeral and final expenses. You can find it there at CashValleyDaily.com. And just a side note, if you or someone you love is struggling with mental health, 988. And I just want to reiterate that I know that demons and sometimes the voices can get loud and everything, but also know that under no circumstances you should know that we are better with you here than without you here. The light is much brighter with you here, and anything that you're facing, even the worst of the stuff, man, we can get through it together, and there's help out there. 988, and just kind of a sad moment for Aggie Nation.
Yeah, check in on your people. A lot of folks try and do this silently and by themselves, and I think I can speak for myself and even JD. Like, this stuff is normal.
Yep.
People struggle with stuff like this all the time. JD and I have talked to each other about our histories, and mental health, to me, it's you got to be as vocal about it as possible. I've always tried to be very open about how I feel about it and my mental health history, just because I wish more people around me would have been more open like that when I was at my lowest. So check in on your people, be open with your struggles, and just take care of the people around you.
And I'm just going to throw it out there, too. We're in a day and age in 2025. Like, I would rather be made fun of for being some sort of wuss or whatever you want to call me, and be a lifeline to somebody out there. I had somebody who was a lifeline to me during a very dark situation. She's still very, very special to me, and actually just lives about 2.5 hours down south, and is one of the reasons that I'm still here with you today and able to be a dad and a father and do those my most important titles there. So 988, and definitely thinking about the Wickizer family today. Cache Valley Daily has that link, and we also have the GoFundMe link there too. So be thinking about that as we get you ready for the matchup against Wyoming. We got an early tip today. Stockton, I was trying to figure out 5:30 tip-off time for Aggie Game Day. That's pretty early. We've been going into the overnight hours.
Yeah, I'm part not happy and part very happy about the early tip-off tonight. I mean, obviously it's a school night and it's a work night for a lot of people, so this makes the game a little easier to watch, especially with it being on the road. People can just kind of stay at home, watch the game at home, and then it's bedtime. It's perfect. But The other part of it, too, is the back half of my day got stacked all of a sudden. You've been running another marathon today, so I shouldn't even really talk about it in front of you. But, man,
but you have an opportunity with the baseball club, right?
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm going to be kind of running their streams, running their productions this season, getting involved with them. Baseball was my first love when I was growing up. I love the sport of baseball. I played for so long, and it's just one of the best ways, I think, to participate in sports and be outside is just playing baseball, throwing a baseball around, hitting batting practice with your friends, anything like that. I keep my gloves in my trunk just in case like the opportunity comes up, but I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, that's congratulations, dude. You're the man when it comes up there doing stuff for everybody in the media world. I tell you, Stockton's going to hang out with me for a couple years, and then we're going to send him off to the big leagues, and I'm excited to see what he does. Coming up, we'll talk to Jalen Moore. He joins us here every week here on KVNU Aggie Game Day, brought to you by My Mattress. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? My Mattress offers the world's two best beds, Purple and IntelliBed and Tempur-Pedic. An advanced garage door. We sell peace of mind. Primrose Health and Hospice. Who you choose to care for your loved ones matters. Big enough for quality care, small enough to actually care. And what else we got coming up here? Looking at the early line here, Stockton. How do you feel about this? Of course, we were favorites this past weekend. I don't really want to talk about that anymore. Can we just move past it?
Yeah, I mean, I think Coach Calhoun was very just kind of like water off a duck's back in the postgame, which is what I wanted because that's a very tough game. But again, those are shooting numbers that just don't really happen that often. As crazy as you go over a really high percentage shooting game, you get equally as frustrated and start playing the blame game just as much when you have a low shooting day, but they're equally as rare. So I think Utah State's going to be swinging back towards the middle, maybe even above par in a good way. But I don't think that we should put too much weight on Saturday. I think that was a tough week for the Aggies. They had to beat a team that already beat them. Then they had to play the team that they were tied for in first place. New Mexico's got a lot to do, at least a lot more to do in the regular season than Utah State because of that New Mexico State game. Now, with that win at the Spectrum, now you can almost offset that. So that was a big win for them, but I don't think it's anything to worry too much about because I think that I'll give you some insight. I was talking to Garth earlier this afternoon. We were kind of chatting about that game, and we both agreed that running the score up at the end of the game for New Mexico, they were right, or I guess Patino was right to be upset about that at the end of the game because Utah State is not going to forget that. And I think that, New Mexico has this feeling about them now, and you can kind of see it on social media where they think they are so clear at the top of the Mountain West. We might be able to jump down their throats and catch them sleeping in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's one of those things. They're big for their britches, but they've also had some tough wins, and it's one thing that I think in the first...
they earned the talk, and that's one of the things that's hard to swallow as a fan is they earn the right to say all this stuff, but now they have to back it up.
I'm going to say about 60% of the stuff because the other 45%, and yes, grew up in Oregon, so that's my education.
Some of the psycho fans down there, I separate that from like what the team is doing, and they're kind of taking jabs at Spectrum Magic and stuff, and they earned that, right? They came in and they spanked the Aggies on their home court. It was the Aggies lost by 4 times more than their combined other 2 losses on Saturday night. Right. So it was earned. They should have some swagger about them, but you can't hold on to that. You got to be careful about what happens on the return trip.
Absolutely. And we got, I'm going to do math now because 6:30 tip's a little early for me trying to figure this out. So
we got 49 minutes.
49 minutes to get in your text for that Cafe Sabor $25 gift card. Leave it to the college student to pick up the old man here.
Hey man, I haven't taken a math class in 8 years.
435-554. 1175 is that text line to get your score prediction. Closest one wins that $25 gift card to Cafe Sabor. You're listening to KVNU Aggie Game Day, 102.1 FM, 610 AM, and KVNUtalk.com. We'll be right back talking to Jalen Moore, getting you ready for the Aggies taking on the Cowboys in Laradice here on Aggie Game Day.
Need a reliable partner for your medical needs? Look no further than Triton Medical and Transportation. We offer top-quality medical soft goods right here in your community. From incontinence supplies and oxygen needs to medical transportation. Whatever you need to stay comfortable and healthy, we've got you covered. Trust Triton Medical and Transportation, caring for our community with every step, every mile. Call us today at 435-557-6687 or visit us online at mytritonsupply.com. Triton Medical and Transportation, because your health matters.
The perfect night, the perfect date, the perfect Valentine's dinner for two at Cafe Sabor. You choose the night, Monday, February 10th through Saturday, February 15th. Then comes the amazing Valentine's dinner. 4 options priced $25, $30, $35, and $45. You can also include a movie for two. No excuses. 5 days to make your Valentine happy, 10th through the 15th, with 4 amazing specials to choose from, including a movie at Cache Valley's favorite Mexican restaurant, Cafe Sabor. Go to cafesabor.com for details. cafesabor.com for details on the Sweetheart Special.
Every question is a great question at Adams Wealth Advisors. Do we have enough money for retirement? Can we finally plan that trip? With the ups and downs of the economy, are our portfolios recession-proof?
This is Craig Adams. At Adams Wealth Advisors, we are here to help you receive peace of mind whether you've done a lot of planning or a little planning. Count on our team at Adams Wealth Advisors for honesty, professionalism, and integrity.
Visit adamswealthadvisors.com or call 752-1702 to schedule a time with an advisor today.
It's cold outside, but you can keep warm inside with a quality-built, super-efficient York furnace. Count on a furnace from York because it's backed by the strongest warranties available. Call Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York dealer, at 752-7272. Online at advancedheating-ac.com. York, install confidence.
We're not comfortable until you are. Advanced Heating and Air.
Happy winter! This is Mark at the Sportsman on Main Street, where we make winter fun. We are your ski, snowboard, snowshoe, and cross-country ski rental shop. Come in and rent for the day or longer and have a great time outside. We also have great deals on new skis, boots, bindings, underwear, and outerwear, so you are comfortable playing in the snow. See the Sportsman for the best deals, the best service, and most unique products you will find for the outdoors. Only at the Sportsman on Main Street in downtown Logan.
This Utah State Aggie broadcast is brought to you by Les Olson IT, providing managed IT services to business throughout Utah on News Talk KVNU.
Welcome back to KVNU Aggie Game Day. J.D. Walker, Stockton Jukes, and Jalen Moore's appearance brought to you by Cache Valley Bank. Mountains await whatever your challenges and opportunities you face. Cache Valley Bank is here to support you. Triton Medical Supply, a top partner for your medical soft goods and oxygen needs. Proud sponsors here of KVNU Aggie Game Day. And every week Jalen Moore joins us here on Aggie Game Day. Jalen, we're getting ready to talk about the Cowboys and the Aggies. We're not going to mention anything about New Mexico. I've gone ahead and kicked them out of the Union. We're not going to talk about Mexico for a couple weeks. So give me your first thoughts on the Cowboys, Jalen, as the Aggies look to bounce back tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another good test for us, another good road test. You know, I always think, back to my playing days that Wyoming always played way better at home. They're just one of those teams that kind of just played a little bit different on the road, and they always look better at home. They seem to shoot better. I remember, when I was playing against them and stuff like that, they always seem to shoot the 3-ball really well. So those are going to be some things that we have to watch for, especially with us playing the zone. I think they're going to probably shoot a little bit better. But, like here, they gave us a game, almost to the very end in the Spectrum. So I think this is going to be another game that's really going to test us. It's going to see how we're feeling after that loss. And how a lot of our guys come back and perform and bounce back. And I think it's going to be a good test for us because it's always tough to win in Laramie.
Talking to Jalen Moore here on KVNU Aggie Game Day, brought to you by Daryl's Appliance on West on Airport Road. And Cafe Sabor, still time to get in your pregame prediction, 435-554-1175. That's 554-1175. We were in the middle of watching what was going on at the Spectrum this past Saturday, but I don't know if you caught kind of the end of the Wyoming-San Diego State game, Jalen. I said earlier in that day that Wyoming has the ability to be kind of a Claymore mine to any team that they come across. They can devastate you. I almost saw that with San Diego State. In fact, San Diego State was up, I believe, 10 seconds left in the game. They were up by 11. In that 10 seconds, that must have taken forever, the final score got to 61-63. This Wyoming Cowboy team, they're 11-11 record. They're 4-7 in conference. They put up 10 points in 10 seconds. This is a team we can't take for granted, right, Jalen?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was going to say. This is just a team we can't be overlooking them. I know a lot of the guys are probably like, gosh, I want that. Like we said, we want that New Mexico game back, but they got to wait a few weeks, to play them at their place. So there's some games and some business that we got to make sure that we take care of in between these games, in between the two New Mexico games. And it's starting tonight. Like I said, I think they're going to play better. They got guys that can score. They're going to try to get up in transition. They have guys that can hit hard shots. They have guys that can shoot. They take a lot of teams down to the wire, and they're right there in a lot of their games, and they just end up losing towards the end. So this is going to be a team where if we let them hang around and we show them, that they can play with us, and we let them get to the free throw line and they convert and they make open threes and stuff like that, and they build their confidence, they're going to play with us all the way to the very end. So I think this is going to be a game where we got to make sure that we come out this game. We got to look sharp in the first half. We got to look good. We got to look aggressive. And obviously, I think a lot of people are going to say we have to stay aggressive like we have been getting to the free throw line. But I think everybody knows that once we get there, we have to shoot better as a team. And I think that's going to be, 2 days removed from the free throw performance we had on Saturday. I think that's going to be one of the biggest things that people want to see us do is shoot better from the free throw line.
Talking to Jalen Moore here on KVNU Aggie Game Day. DD Auto and Salvage, Cache Valley's #1 place to get the most money for your junk vehicles and scrap metal. And Alpine Home Supply, Utah's premier one-stop shop for home medical equipment. Your service provider, call them today, 774-4500. And as much as I don't want to talk about last Saturday, Jalen, but I keep bringing it up, how do you bounce back from a game like that? A game where you're in front of the home fans and it didn't go the way you want. And you heard Coach Calhoun, and I want to get your opinion on this, too, because we got some kind of interesting feedback and Aggie call after we let you go, that people weren't too happy about Coach calling out, and I put air quotes around that, calling out his players. Now, I'm going to give you my perspective. I'm interested to hear yours. I don't feel like Coach is calling out the players individually. I feel like he's talking about their performances. And I think that's a distinction that we have to have. Stockton, what do you got?
He did drop some specific names after that UNLV game, though.
Yeah,
he dropped Tucker's full legal name. So
yeah, I understand that.
I get that, but I'm with you where it's like, it's D1 basketball, man.
Yeah, I don't think it's personal, Jalen. I think it's more about the performance. How do you, as a former player, have insight on that?
Yeah, no, it's hard to say, because coaching, it's got to be different with all the stuff that goes on in college basketball and players getting paid and all that kind of stuff. It's totally different than when I used to play of how coaches would coach, But like I said, I don't think it's a negative thing. I think we're good because he's able to hold players accountable and they know what they should be doing. And if they mess up, he lets them know. And I think that's how you should coach. I don't think he does anything that demeans players and is negative or anything. I think he just holds them accountable and knows what, and I think the players are supposed to know what they expect when they came to play for him. And he just makes sure that they know that. And if they don't do what they covered in scout or in film and stuff like that, he's not afraid to tell them where they mess up. And that's, I think, how we've gotten better as a team. And I think that's how we are a good team that wins a lot of close games and as a close-knit team. And so I personally don't have a problem with it. I think it's just a kind of a way that he also challenges some players. And like you guys said, it's D1 basketball. You're going to be held accountable for certain things. That's what you're here to do, is perform and go to school and, all that kind of stuff. And so when they're not doing that, I think he's got every right to, be able to tell anybody that they got to be better. And he knows it. They got to be better, because if that same team shows up the remainder of the games in Mountain West, they're not going to win a lot of games. So he knows that they have to play better. And I think they will play better tonight, because I think they took care of a lot of things over the weekend. Free throws being a big one, obviously, but I think there's some things that they touched on, and I think they will look better. But the thing is, I think they will, but they have to as well. If they want to stay being a good team, they have to look better than what they did on Saturday.
Talking to Jalen Moore here on KVNU Aggie Game Day. Jarek's Fine Jewelry, bringing you Jalen's appearance here on KVNU Aggie Game Day. Everyone knows Jarek's is the popular engagement ring store. At Golden Spike Game Day, don't let Mother Nature spoil your night. Get a Generac backup generator installed today. It might be for a snowstorm or outside a heat wave like we're doing right now in Cache Valley. talking to Jalen Moore. Jalen, before I let you go, let me get your final thoughts on the score tonight. I'll put you on the spot first and your player of the game. Normally we pick a little bit later on. I'll let you know that I'm riding with Drake today. That's going to be my player of the game.
Especially after his post game.
Yeah, I feel like we're seeing the maturation of his playing years, the veteran leadership, and we're seeing that come out with him. So I'm going to pick Drake as my player of the game. Who do you have, Jalen?
Yeah, I honestly like that as a player of the game. I think he's given us a good spark the last few games off the bench, and I think he's kind of coming into his own of that role and being okay with coming off the bench. But I feel like he's due. Like, we need Mason back. You know what I mean? Like, we need that Mason that we were seeing for a bit. And I think a lot of it has been just kind of some of his confidence slipping, especially with the free throws. And so, like, I think that's just kind of affected him as a whole. I think tonight, I want to say he gets back to what he usually does. He shoots better from the free throw line. I think he's been facilitating and rebounding well the last few games, but I think he gets back at it offensively where we need him. So I'm going to go with Mason for also player of the game. I think we win, and I think it's going to be, if I had to choose a final score, I'm going to go 74-61 for the final score, like a 13-point win for us. Our defense looks good, and I think Mason is the player of the game for us tonight.
All right, Jalen, tell them where they can find you as we're getting closer and closer to playoff basketball here in Cache Valley for the boys and the girls in the high school hoops. Where can they find you for training, not just during the season, but all year long?
Yeah, the best spot will be just a direct email to me would be nextlevelbasketball435@gmail.com, or they can visit our website at nextlevel435.com. The website will have everything that we do on there, from teams to training. And like I said, we got our 13U and 14U boys tryouts coming up actually on this Saturday. And there will be some more information on that on our website. So I'm hoping to see some of those 13 and 14-year-olds this Saturday as well.
All right, Jalen, hopefully we'll talk to you a little bit after the game for a Blue A in Cache Valley. Have a good one and enjoy the game, man.
Yep, sounds good. I appreciate you guys.
All right, Stockton, what's going on?
I got some real interesting stuff going on in Iowa City right now.
Iowa City?
You remember when we beat the Hawkeyes, JD?
Oh, man, that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It was a lifetime ago. But they're tied with number 7 Purdue at 36 at halftime right now.
And that could be
that could make
nifty.
us look pretty good.
Yeah, that could be pretty nifty. Getting you ready for the matchup against the Cowboys in Laradice. 9315 on the text line says that Laramie is nice a couple times of the year. Still waiting to figure out when those times are.
It's when the Aggies are in town, baby.
Yeah. Still time to get in your pregame prediction for that Cafe Sabor gift card. 435-554-1175. That's 435-554-1175. We'll be back with more KVNU Aggie Game Day after this.
Top coat, top hat, I'm wearing 'cause my wallet's fat. Backstage, white glove, looking sharp, looking for love. They come running up the back as they can. 'Cause every girl crazy about a short dress man.
Hi, I'm Gabe Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. There's a story that came to us from a real customer, and I wanted to share it with you.
We came in looking for a scooter for our mother. The staff at Alpine showed us different options for scooters and battery-operated wheelchairs and helped us find one that was easy for her to handle and easy for us to get in and out of her car. They have fabulous customer service.
We love hearing about your experiences. Visit us online at alpinehomemedical.com.
Did you know Daryl's technicians are factory authorized and trained to do your warranty work? This is Jay with Daryl's. Our repairmen have access to the largest parts department in northern Utah. That means we often get repair done the first visit. Schedule your appliance repair today to lock in your no-risk service. If you want new instead, you can apply your trip charge to an appliance purchase. See store for details. Daryl's west on Airport Road, open until 6 p.m. on weekdays, 5 on Saturday.
This is Catherine Buse with Cache Valley Bank, and we understand that concerns about fraud can weigh heavily on you. Your peace of mind is important to us. That's why we're committed to looking out for you and your family. Our team keeps a vigilant eye on your account. If you ever have concerns or need support, we're just a call or visit away. Whether you need advice or just someone to talk to, our friendly staff is ready to help. We're more than just a bank. We're your neighbors, and we care about your security. Visit your local branch today. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Cold weather is here. Let the gold medal winner in the Best of Northern Utah's fireplace category help you update your home with Heat and Glow's full line of gas or wood-burning products. Building a new home? Let the professionals at Advanced Fireplace and Stove design and install your fireplace. From traditional to modern, Heat and Glow has something for every design and every budget. Install a product that will allow your family to make memories for years to come. Stop by at their showroom or visit them at advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
From the land you love to the jobs you do.
This time of year, the farms, ranches, and fields might be quiet, but if you make your living off the land, the real work is just getting started. Now is the perfect time to prepare for the busy spring ahead. Cash Equipment can service or repair almost any tractor, make, or model. Don't wait until the fields are calling. Beat the spring rush. Visit Cash Equipment in Hyde Park and online at cashequipment.com.
Cash Equipment's here to see you through.
The clock is ticking, and Aggie basketball is getting closer. It's KVNU Game Day.
Welcome back to KVNU, Aggie Game Day, KVNU Logan, 102.1 FM, 610 AM, and KVNUtalk.com. JD Walker, Stockton Jukes, getting you ready for the matchup against the Cowpokes, taking on the Cowboys in Laramie, getting you close to tip-off, about 17 minutes away from handing you off to Scotty and the guys in Laramie. And Scotty pulling double duty yesterday, calling calling the Jazz game, and that was kind of cool to hear Scott on that today, and then drove up to Laramie after that. So he'll be on the call tonight, and you can catch all the action here on KVNU. And then we've got Coach Calhoun's post-game interview, and as soon as that's done, we get to live and local feedback from you, the Aggie family. And I tell you, Stockton, this Wyoming team really, it's a trap, to use a Star Wars reference, to be San Diego State, to be in Vijas, and up by 11 with 10 seconds to go. And the Cowboys in 10 seconds scored 11 points. It's just masterful the way that worked out. And, San Diego State able to get a win in Vijas, but only 2 points. Kind of reminds me of when the Cowboys came to the Spectrum early in December. It's not a game I want to look past, but, man, I tell you, I really want Coach Calhoun and the Aggies to bring out the whooping stick and just lay one down and just kind of